This is a quick look of the Enlan EW054. It's a relatively new offering from Enlan, and I would categorize this as a large EDC blade. It comes with G10 green variety in this one, handles, pocket clip, which is positionable only tip up on the right hand side, so lefties are left out. And it has a very unique pivot screw. I haven't tried to adjust it yet, but it looks somewhat like you could adjust it with a flathead screwdriver. It has a diamond shape or a cross shape, so you can use the flathead on either side, but it's not deep enough for a Phillips, that's for sure. And it's jimped on the upper area on the handle scale. Has a flipper design, so my only issue with this knife, actually there are a couple which I'll mention. The first being that with that very deep jimping, when you pull the flipper to open this blade, eventually your hand will meet the jimping, and because of the very strong blade detent, you'll tend to push really hard. So once it's flipped open and your finger continues down onto the jimping, it's quite uncomfortable. The finger becomes quite raw. That you see in my finger is not from that. I have dry skin. Please disregard that. And it has jimping the same as the top on the bottom part where your fingers would touch. Provides a little extra grip. It's a pocket clip, like I talked about before, and I'll try and open this using the flipper. It's very stiff, as you can see. I already oiled it, but I haven't quite broken it in yet. With a little wrist action like you saw there, still opens relatively nicely. You see ahead of the flipper here what would seem like a finger choil for you to choke up with your pointer finger, but I wouldn't suggest you doing so because the termination point of the blade by the base here is still quite sharp, and if your finger were to slide up, or even with prolonged use, it could probably hurt, or in the worst case scenario, cut you, albeit very mildly on the tip. But just something to note. And you'll see there are thumb studs, which you can also use to deploy the blade, but I prefer the flipper. And another thing that I did not quite like about this is how thick it is. It is very, very thick. If you notice, the stainless steel liners are incredibly thick, thicker than most stainless steel lined blades that I've seen used for their liner locks. This is almost, I wouldn't quite call it a sub-frame lock because it isn't, but it's pretty darn thick. The frame, the liners, it's a beefy blade. This thing, by the way, is quite heavy. For the specifications on the dimensions and the weight, look in the description box. And I'll just show you to a couple other knives that I've been making quick look videos at to show you how thick this knife actually is. This is the Enlan EW054 next to the brother 1601 Mannix clone. You'll notice this was already a pretty thick knife. This is way thicker. Now if you look at this next to the brother 1605G, it's also much thicker. And now for the starkest comparison, you can look at it next to the brother midlock folding knife, or the bird karakari, essentially the stainless steel variety. You will see it's almost double. No joke. On the left here is the brother midlock folding knife. This is the Enlan EW054. It is pretty much double. I have not measured it, but just eyeballing it now, as you can see, it's probably double. So it's good for big-handed fellows and ladies, but for someone like me who has smaller hands, while not being uncomfortable, it's just not as comfortable as can be. And there you have it. Quick look at the Enlan EW054. Beautiful sweep, I forgot to mention. Looks almost scimitar-like, or the Persian style, I would say. Not scimitar, the Persian style. Very attractive. Anyways, thanks for looking, and talk to you later.